I'm 38, and I've been married to my husband for 5 years. He has a daughter from his first marriage, Emma, who's 16 now. Her mother passed away when Emma was 9. I came into her life when she was 11. It took a long time to build trust, but eventually she warmed up to me. She started calling me mom around the time she turned 13, and I can't lie, it meant the world to me. I never pushed for it, never even asked. She just started saying it one day, and I nearly cried the first time I heard it. Emma and I always had a complicated bond. She was sweet with me in front of others, always saying she was lucky to have a stepmom who cared. She even wrote a Mother's Day card last year saying I was the best thing that ever happened to her. I kept that card tucked in my wallet, where I could glance at it during hard days. Being a stepmom isn't easy, especially to a grieving kid. But I really believed we'd made it through the rough parts. She'd joke around with me, ask for advice, and even got into the habit of saying goodnight with a hug. Of course, she'd have the usual teenage moods, but I chalked it up to growing up. Hormones, school stress, friendship drama, normal stuff. Or at least, I thought it was normal. About 3 weeks ago, I started noticing strange shifts. Emma was quieter, but not just in a teenage leave-me-alone way. It was calculated. She started avoiding me subtly, not responding to texts when we were in the same house, closing her bedroom door more often, and going silent the second I walked into a room. I asked my husband about it, but he said she was just stressed about exams and I was probably overthinking it. Maybe I was. So I gave her space. But then one night, I went into the laundry room, and her notebook was sitting on top of a pile of towels. Her name was written across the cover in glittery marker. I swear, I didn't open it with the intention of snooping. I just picked it up to put it with her other stuff, but when I grabbed it, the pages fanned open, and I saw my name. Over and over. Not in a good way. Not in a thank you for being there kind of way. No, what I read was cold, distant, cutting. And some of it was disturbing. The first sentence I read was scrawled in all caps across the top of the page, "She's not my MOM. I wish she'd stop acting like it." I froze. My fingers trembled as I held the notebook. I told myself to close it, put it away and respect her privacy. But I couldn't. Not after that. The next few lines weren't any easier. She wrote that she felt suffocated by my presence. That she hated how her dad acted like I was so perfect, like I had somehow replaced her mom. She said she hated how I always tried to talk to her about school, friends, her future, like I was trying too hard to be involved. The worst part was that she called it fake. All of it. She wrote, "She smiles and pretends she cares, but I see through it. I know she only does it to look like a good wife. I don't trust her. I don't even like her." And then, scribbled at the bottom of the page like an afterthought, "I wish my dad would have stayed single. I wish mom were still alive. Everything would be better without my name here." I dropped the notebook. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. For 5 years, I'd bent over backwards trying to make Emma feel safe, loved, supported. I skipped vacations to attend her dance recitals. I worked late into the night just to make sure her science project got finished. I spent every Mother's Day wondering if I deserved to be celebrated at all, until she made me believe I did. And now, I'm nothing to her. Worse than nothing. I'm a liar in her eyes. A fake. A stand-in she resents every time I breathe too loud. I sat in the laundry room for half an hour, trying not to cry. Not out of anger, out of heartbreak. It felt like everything I thought we had was a lie. I didn't tell my husband. Not yet. Because the next page in the journal had something I wasn't ready to explain. Something that made me wonder if Emma's resentment had crossed a line I didn't even know existed. The next page of the journal was darker. Meaner. The kind of writing you'd expect from someone completely unfiltered, someone letting their ugliest thoughts spill out. She wrote, "If I ever really wanted to mess with her, it wouldn't be that hard. She trusts me. She thinks I care. But I could ruin her life and she'd never even see it coming." That sentence made my whole body go cold. I reread it at least 5 times, hoping I was misinterpreting something. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe she was just venting after a bad day. But the more I read, the more deliberate it all seemed. She listed things I had told her in confidence, personal things. Like how I struggle with anxiety and sometimes lie about feeling okay, just so my husband doesn't worry. Or how I've been trying to reconnect with an estranged friend after a falling out, and how fragile that has made me feel. Things I never told anyone else. She wrote about how easy it would be to twist those details. How she could make it sound like I was unstable, or controlling, or worse. There was even a part where she said, "I bet if I cried in front of Dad, told him she yelled at me or made me feel unsafe, he'd believe it. He always takes her side now." Maybe I need to remind him who came first. I don't even know how long I sat there, staring at those words. My mind was spinning. This wasn't just a teenager being dramatic. This felt calculated. Like she had thought about it before. I put the notebook back exactly where I found it. I didn't touch anything else. I didn't even finish the laundry. I just went to bed in silence, lying next to my husband with my eyes wide open in the dark, wondering what on earth I'd gotten myself into. I wanted to believe Emma was just angry, confused, that she missed her mom and didn't know how to process it. But this wasn't grief. This was cruelty, intentional, written out in ink. And I was starting to wonder if she'd already done something. Because in the past few weeks, strange things had started happening around the house. Things I hadn't paid attention to until now. It started small. The coffee machine would be unplugged in the morning, no big deal, just annoying. Then I noticed my phone charger kept going missing from the bedroom. Once, I found it buried under a couch cushion in the living room, and I laughed it off. Thought maybe I was just distracted or tired. Maybe I'd moved it and forgot. Then my work laptop started glitching. Files disappearing. Emails marked as read that I hadn't even opened yet. I figured it was a sync issue. I called IT, they ran a scan and said everything looked fine. But now, I wasn't so sure. A week ago, I got an email from my boss asking if I was okay. He said I'd missed a client Zoom meeting I had confirmed the night before. Except, I was there. I logged in, I waited, but nobody else ever showed. I sent follow-up emails to everyone who was supposed to attend. No replies. Until 2 days later, when one of the clients responded saying, "You never logged on." I was confused. Then irritated. But now? Now I can't stop thinking about what Emma wrote in that journal. She said she could ruin my life if she wanted to. That she might want to. Was it possible she had messed with my calendar? Cancelled meetings? Tampered with my laptop when I wasn't looking? I tried to remember where my computer had been. Had I left it unlocked on the kitchen counter? Had she ever been alone in my office? That's when something else hit me. My anxiety medication. It had been running out faster than it should have. At first, I thought maybe I'd forgotten a few doses and doubled up by mistake. But now, I went back and counted. I had 12 pills left. I should have had 21. 9 pills. Gone. And Emma knows where I keep them. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept spinning in circles. Was I being paranoid? Or was I finally seeing the truth? This wasn't a sad teenager lashing out with words. This was something else. And I hadn't told anyone. Not my husband. Not my best friend. Not even my therapist. Because how do you say out loud, "I think my stepdaughter might be trying to sabotage my life"? You sound crazy. But I was done ignoring the signs. The next day, I decided to test her. I came up with a plan. The plan was simple: leave bait and watch what she did with it. I wrote a note to myself on a sticky pad and left it next to my work laptop on my desk, right in the open where she could see it. The note said, "Call HR, tell them the files were never deleted. Confirm Friday meeting time. Do not leave laptop unlocked again." The note was fake. I hadn't lost any files. There was no meeting. I just wanted to see if it would trigger anything. Then I left the laptop open, but locked, on purpose. I made a point of telling Emma I'd be going to the store and wouldn't be back for at least 2 hours. I even said it loud enough for her to hear from the hallway. But I never left the driveway. I parked my car down the street, walked around the back, and quietly entered through the basement door that barely creaks if you know how to close it. I waited. 15 minutes later, I heard her walk into the office. I stayed completely still, crouched in the dark stairwell, barely breathing. I didn't have a camera. I didn't want proof, I wanted clarity. I needed to know who she really was when no one was watching. I heard the sound of a chair sliding back, then fingers tapping on the laptop keys. Then silence. Then more typing. She was trying to guess my password. I stood there for maybe 5 full minutes, heart racing, every muscle in my body locked in place. Eventually, I heard her mutter something, soft, irritated, and then footsteps walking away. I waited a full 10 minutes before sneaking upstairs again. When I got to the office, I checked the laptop. The login screen was still there, but the sticky note was gone. Gone. I checked the trash, checked the floor. Nothing. She had taken it. I couldn't make sense of it. Why steal a note that meant nothing? Unless she thought it meant something. Unless she believed I was catching on. And then another possibility hit me, one I hadn't considered. What if this whole time, I wasn't the one being paranoid? What if she was? What if she thought I was hiding something? That night, I walked past her room on purpose. Her door was slightly ajar, and I glanced inside. She wasn't journaling. She was on my work laptop. I froze outside her door. I know what you're probably thinking, how did she even get my work laptop? But here's the thing, I have a second one. An older backup I used during the pandemic that's still synced to my company account. It's tucked in my closet and used for months. I hadn't touched it in ages. And yet there she was, sitting cross-legged on her bed, screen glowing, typing fast. I watched for maybe 10 seconds, long enough to confirm it was my old machine. The sticker with my initials was still on the corner. She didn't hear me, or maybe she didn't care. She was wearing headphones, completely absorbed. I backed away, quietly, and went to my room. At first, I thought maybe she's just curious. Maybe she borrowed it once and liked it better than her school-issued Chromebook. But when I powered up my current laptop, something immediately felt off. New desktop folders. Random PDFs I didn't recognize. A message notification from Slack, my work messaging app, opened, read, and then marked as unread again. My stomach turned. I checked the synced activity history, and sure enough, my account had been accessed multiple times over the past 2 weeks from a device that hadn't been logged into since last year. That old laptop. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. What was she doing? This wasn't some rebellious teen prank. This was organized. Purposeful. She wasn't just angry. She was digging. Trying to find something. Or maybe, make something. I knew I couldn't accuse her without proof. If I went to my husband and told him his daughter was spying on me, maybe even trying to sabotage me at work, he'd think I was losing it. I needed to know what she was looking for. And more than that, I needed to know why. So I made a bold choice. That night, while everyone was asleep, I went into her room. And I found something she had hidden beneath her mattress that changed everything. I shouldn't have done it, I know that. But at this point, I wasn't trying to catch her, I was trying to protect myself. From what, exactly, I still wasn't sure. But I could feel something building, like a storm tightening around me, and I didn't even know what it looked like yet. Her room was quiet, dark, cold. I didn't turn on the lights. I used the flashlight on my phone and went straight to the bed. I slipped my hand under the mattress, expecting to find the journal again, maybe a phone, maybe nothing at all. But what I pulled out was a small manila folder. No label. Taped shut. I didn't open it there. I took it to the bathroom, turned on the fan so no one would hear, and peeled the tape slowly, trying not to rip the paper. Inside were printouts. Dozens of them. Printouts of my emails, from my work account. Some were harmless, reminders about meetings, project notes. But others were clearly picked for impact. A complaint I filed about a manager last year. A comment I'd made venting to a coworker about being burnt out. A single sentence I'd written 2 months ago saying, honestly, I'm not even sure I want to be in this department anymore. That one was highlighted in yellow. And at the bottom of the stack? A page from my therapist. Not the full session notes, just a confirmation email. But still, she had found out who my therapist was. She had gone through my emails. It felt like she was building a case, collecting evidence. Not against a stranger. Against me. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there, folder in hand, wondering how long she'd been planning this. And what exactly she planned to do with it. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Ate her cereal, scrolled on her phone, asked her dad if he could drive her to school. All smiles. All routine. I couldn't even look at her. I wanted to scream, ask her why. Why go to such lengths? What was the end game? But I kept quiet. For one reason. Because tucked in the back of that folder, barely visible beneath the stack of papers, was something I hadn't expected. A photo. A photo of me, sitting alone in my office, looking directly into the camera. Except, I'd never taken it. The photo stopped my breath cold. I stared at it for so long I didn't realize my hand was shaking until I felt the paper tremble between my fingers. It was me, sitting at my desk, in our home office, working, unaware, unguarded. My hair was up in a messy clip, glasses halfway down my nose. I looked tired, like someone deep into emails and stress. But I wasn't alone. Not really. Because the angle of the photo, it wasn't from inside the room. It was from outside the room. Through the crack in the door. Someone had taken it without me knowing. Someone standing there, watching me. My skin crawled. The photo wasn't new, I could tell by the sweater I had on. I'd donated it over a month ago. So this had been going on for weeks, probably longer. I didn't understand it. Was she trying to catch me doing something wrong? Make me look unstable? Incompetent? What story was she planning to tell? And then the worst question crept in. Was she planning to show this to someone? Her father? My boss? A lawyer? That one froze me. Because my husband and I had recently updated our wills, giving me temporary guardianship over Emma if anything ever happened to him. And if she wanted me gone, legally or otherwise. No. I couldn't let my mind go there. Not yet. But one thing was clear, this wasn't about teenage rebellion. This wasn't grief. It wasn't even jealousy. This was something calculated. And personal. She wanted me out. And now that I knew, I had to decide whether to confront her, confront him, or pretend I didn't know and try to figure out what her next move was. I wanted to believe she wouldn't take it further. That this was some bizarre cry for attention, and it would end here. But then, later that afternoon, while cleaning up the kitchen, I noticed something new. A voice recorder, tucked under a placemat on the dining table, still running. I stared at the little black recorder like it was a live wire. I didn't touch it right away. I just stood there, frozen, trying to breathe without making a sound, as if it could still hear me. Which, of course, it could. It was wedged under the corner of a placemat, barely noticeable unless you were cleaning. And I knew it hadn't been there before. I wiped this table every morning. She must have planted it sometime after breakfast. My heart was thudding in my chest. I picked it up gently and saw the red light blinking, still recording. I turned it off. I didn't listen to it. Not then. I couldn't. My hands were shaking too hard. Instead, I tucked it into my coat pocket and went upstairs, locking myself in the guest bathroom. I sat on the edge of the tub and stared at the wall. My mind wasn't spinning anymore, it was quiet now. Too quiet. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a child acting out. She was recording me. In my own house. And what scared me most wasn't that she might have caught me saying something bad, it's that she could edit the recording to sound like I did. That she could take a sentence out of context and turn it into a weapon. I replayed the past few days in my head. Had I said anything angry when she was nearby? Had I muttered to myself? Venting? Swearing under my breath? Suddenly I couldn't remember what was real and what wasn't. The paranoia she'd planted in me was growing roots. I had always been the adult in the relationship. The calm one. The reasonable one. But now? She had turned the house into a stage, and I was no longer sure who the audience was supposed to be. That night, I didn't speak to her. I didn't tell my husband. I just acted normal. Ate dinner. Watched TV. Pretended I hadn't found anything. But deep inside, I knew something had shifted. Because later that night, she made her move. I found an email in my work inbox, sent from an anonymous account. No subject line. Just one sentence. You should really watch your tone around Emma. People are starting to notice. That email sent a chill down my spine. It confirmed everything. This wasn't teenage angst. It wasn't grief or confusion or acting out. It was a threat. The kind that doesn't come with yelling or slammed doors, but with quiet, methodical steps meant to dismantle someone piece by piece. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, wondering how long it would be before she made her next move. Would she go to her father and say I yelled at her? That I'd hit her? Would she edit the voice recording to make me sound unhinged? Would she go to my boss, using those cherry-picked emails as proof I was unstable or unfit? I wanted to believe she wouldn't go that far. That somewhere deep down, she'd pull back. But I couldn't take that chance anymore. The next morning, I made coffee like normal. Set out breakfast like always. But this time, when my husband sat down at the table, I told him everything. Not all at once. Piece by piece. The missing meds. The stolen emails. The surveillance. The photo. The journal. The voice recorder. At first, he didn't believe me. He looked sick. Like I'd just accused his daughter of being a criminal. He asked if maybe I was reading into it too much. If I was stressed. Misunderstanding. So I handed him the recorder. And hit play. What he heard was his daughter whispering to herself. Practicing phrases. Testing out different tones. Sentences like, "Don't talk to me like that. You're scaring me. Please don't touch me again." Rehearsed. Artificial. Robotic. And then a laugh. Her laugh. Like she was enjoying it. He didn't say a word. He just sat there, face white, hands gripping the edge of the table like it was the only thing keeping him from falling through the floor. After that, it all unraveled fast. He confronted her. She denied it at first. Then she cried. Then she screamed. Then she locked herself in her room for 2 days. We've since started family therapy. Not because I believe everything will go back to normal, because I don't, but because we have to start somewhere. My husband asked me if I could forgive her. I didn't know what to say. Because this wasn't just teenage rebellion or grief acting out, it was a quiet war I didn't know I'd been drafted into. She tried to destroy me from the inside out. And maybe the scariest part? She almost did. I still don't know why she did it. Maybe she saw my love as a betrayal of her mother. Maybe she never truly let me in. Maybe she needed control over something, and I was the easiest target. I've stopped trying to figure it out. These days, I lock my laptop. I log out of every app. I count my medication. And I sleep with my bedroom door locked, just in case. Because I used to think love could fix everything. Now I know, sometimes, even love has no idea who's standing in the room with you.